Hey, it's David. In a previous video I showed you how to remove the baffle from an Akrapovic slip-on. In this video I'm going to show you how to make it removable so you can put it in and out whenever you want without having to remove the end cap like you did in the previous video. Now that we've got the slip-on off the bike and we've drilled out the rivets that hold this on, because these are not the original rivets and they're slightly too long, drilling out doesn't work because they just spin. But because the ones I've got in here are alloy, I can get a knife blade in there, just hit it with a hammer and it cuts through without damaging the carbon itself. What we want to do now then is to remove the end cap, and if we look on the back of the exhaust then we see the fixing bolt for the baffle, the DB killer. So what we need to do is to make a hole in here exactly over that so that we can put a tool down in here. Now there's an Allen head in here, or if you've got a very small socket you can reach down in there, undo that and also put it back in. Now once we've drilled the hole then we'll plug it with an Akrapovic rubber plug. So what we need to do now is to figure out exactly where this hole is and then mark it. So I know it's just slightly below these rivets here, and this surface is far too slippery to mark. So we use that instead. And I'm looking for the center of that bolt. So it's going to be about there. So that's going to be along that line there. And then we need to line up. Now I want to make sure these rivet holes are lined up perfectly with this rivet hole, and that we've got a straight line running across here. So that's going to be my target. What I'm going to try and do now is drill a small hole down through here, and I'm going to common sense check it here. It looks in line, and it looks in line. Really only get one chance to drill this. It does have a part number, so we should be able to buy another one, but it's pretty expensive to buy one of these. So let's be very careful where we drill the hole. think I can see a mark in the centre. I'm going to say that hole is going to be about 13, 14 mil. Now I can see clearly through, and I am dead centre above the bolt, so we're doing well. This cutter goes up to 14 mil. Okay, so we're up to 14. And that looks like it's the perfect size. So, looks like 14's the winner. But plenty of room to get a socket on there, and that's what, an 8, and obviously you can use an Allen key in there as well, but it's pretty much perfect and no damage. In the last video I had on removing the DB killer, I had difficulty getting the DB killer in. And what I found was that when I fitted the DB killer, I had to hammer it in, and it was a really tight fit. And by the time I'd done that, I left alone. But now I want it removable. I do want to be able to pull it in and out. So what I've done here, you can see it's a little bit shiny. I've just taken it onto the grinder and gently polished it down to a point where I can now make that a push fit. And one of the reasons why I want to make it a removable baffle is not because I want to run it without a baffle, because with a decat it's way too loud, but what I do want to be able to do is to fit my slightly louder aftermarket baffle. It's not designed for KTM, it's just a generic baffle. So now I've got the option, when I want to be in quiet stealth mode, I can use the Akrapovic baffle. If I want to be a bit noisier, then I can use my aftermarket baffle. And as you can see, the reason it's noisier, even though the centre pipe is smaller than on the Akrapovic has a sealed end with holes, and this is just open end and shorter, so always louder, even though that pipe is smaller. So let's get the cap back on, and I'm going to leave this out until afterwards. Now, one thing I would say with the Akrapovic baffle is that it has this lock washer on it. Now, you could either put a bit of grease on the bolt so that it's stuck there and do it. Otherwise, because that's obviously going to fall off the moment you do that, it's going to be more awkward if you've got it on the bike. But worst case, because that is to the top side, so that is going to fall off. Worst case, if you take it off and you simply put it in this way round, then that'll work. Otherwise, as I say, probably a little bit of grease on there will hold that in place to put it in. So let's clear this out of the way and let's get this back on. The advantage of working on the back is that you can get them right here first. and they won't be visible to everybody else who looks at your bike. Try to avoid smashing it all into your expensive slip-on. And yeah, you just see the damage that's being caused here by repeated attempts to do this. So this should be the last time this ever needs to come off. That's it. So here we have it, the solution to the removable baffle, and it's the solution that Akrapovic used themselves until very recently. That's why this is an Akrapovic rubber bung which fits into their exhausts to allow the baffles to be made removable. Now it undoubtedly will breach your Euro 4 compliance if you live somewhere where it matters, like Germany, but you may or may not still get away with it because it is still marked with all the KTM information. And if a tester, I guess, doesn't know, then they won't know any different. But so there we go. So this we can now take in and out, and I can swap it with my slightly louder baffle if I want to, or if you wanted to, you could just ride the baffle without. Given that my bike's decatted, I'm not doing that because that is way too loud. So I need to put this back on the bike, so that I was going to say that I'm going to put this back on the bike and then go for a ride, but I can't because of lockdown. But hopefully I will be able to soon, and now I have that ability to swap the baffle out whenever I want to. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again soon.